We are finally back with more EDH gameplay. New to the channel is Bardo playing Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, looking to control the board and draw cards. Beto returns with the new Rakdos and Rakdos the Muscle, sacking creatures for big value and even bigger damage. I'm playing my newly built partner deck of Ikra Shidiqui and Jeska Thrice Reborn, which wants to pump out demons and swing for big damage. And finally we have Mark running Human Tribal with Commissar Severina Raine as his general. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing and use our TCG player affiliate link below. Without any more distractions, Bardo wins a die roll and starts the game. Bardo starts with a draw and plays a Rogue's Passage. Beto draws, plays a Command Tower followed by a turn 1 Soul Ring.
Alright, I'm gonna draw.
I draw, play a Verdant Catacombs paying 1 life to crack it and search for a land. I pass. Similar to me, Mark draws, plays a land and also passes as we move on to turn 2.
Last turn. This is where you know what, you guys know what coitus is, right? It's sex, right? And this is the cave of coitus.
Bardo untaps, draws, and plays a swamp. He passes to Beto. Beto draws and drops a mountain. He then casts Felden of the Third Path and passes.
Yeah, take a look. Mountain.
I draw, play a mountain, and then cast an Up the Beanstalk, drawing a card when it enters. Mark draws and casts a turn 2 Soul Ring, almost as good as Beto's. He then plays a bounce land, bouncing back his tapped land.
Then, tapping 2, I shall play a Jet Medallion.
Damn.
And I'll pass.
Bardo starts turn 3 with a mountain. He then pays for 2 mana to cast Arcane Signet. With nothing else, he passes. Beto untaps and draws. He pays 4 mana for a Hedron Archive. He then plays a tapped Myriad Landscape for turn, and follows with a Nim Death Mantle. We move over to my turn and I draw and play a tapped land. I pass to Mark.
Tap, draw.
It's the...
He then uses the cost reduction from Jet Medallion to cast his commander, Commissar Severina Raine, for 2 mana. He passes. Bardo untaps and draws. He plays a swamp for turn and then casts a Dream Devourer. He passes. Beto untaps and draws. He plays a swamp and then casts his commander, Rakdos the Muscle. He then uses a Soul Ring to crack the Myriad Landscape, getting 2 lands and passes. I untap and draw. I play a land and pay 3 mana to cast a Garruk's Uprising, passing the turn. Mark draws and plays a Temple of the False God, not having enough lands to activate it. He casts a Corpse Knight. He then uses his commander to sacrifice the Corpse Knight to draw a card. He passes. Bardo untaps and casts a Herald of Slanesh. He passes. Beto untaps and draws. He casts a Shidiqui Undead Vizier. On ETB, it sacks itself and he gets to tutor a card. He targets Mark with his Rakdos trigger, getting to look and play the top 5 cards of his library until end of turn.
I'm gonna play a land.
He plays a land for Mark as he goes to tutor. He grabs a card and follows up with a Neheb the Eternal. Beto moves to combat and swings a total of 8 damage at me. I take the 8 and he gets 8 mana from Neheb. He then casts Elspeth Sun's Champion and Strionic Resonator from Mark's exiled cards. He upticks the Elspeth to make 3 creatures and passes the turn.
So I'm gonna get 3 of those, and then I think I pass turn.
I untap and draw. I play a land. I then pay 5 to cast an Archfiend of Depravity. On cast and ETB, I get to draw a card, totaling to 2 cards. Mark untaps and draws. He casts a Swords to Plowshare on Rakdos, exiling it and getting Beto 6 life. He then casts an Arcane Signet. After that, he pays the overload cost to cast Damn, wiping the board. Moving to his end step, Bardo casts a Bitter Triumph to destroy Beto's Planeswalker, losing 3 life.
Oh, he's such a fucking modern player, bro. It's fucking
It says destroy planeswalker or creature.
Yeah, pay 3 life. You paid the 3 life? Yeah, I mean commander, bro?
Red.
It's like you stepped on a Lego, bro.
Bardo untaps and draws. He plays a swamp and casts his commander, Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. Moving to his end step, no one has a creature to sack, so Bardo gets to draw 2 cards. Beto untaps and draws. He plays a swamp. He then casts a Necromancy, bringing back Neheb to the field from the graveyard.
That's crazy, bro. No haste though. Get out of here.
Oh, 5. Keeper of Secrets. First strike haste, 6/4.
That's haste,
Yeah, I'm gonna swing this at Mark.
He then gets 6 red mana in his second main phase and uses it along with some black mana to cast Rakdos again, not showing any signs of being slowed down. I untap and draw. I play a swamp. I then cast a Demogoth Woe Eater, drawing a card when it ETBs for my Garruk's Uprising. I pass. Mark untaps and draws. He plays to cast an Exterminatus, saving us once again from the onslaught of Rakdos value. Bethel responds by sacking his 6 CMC creature to Rakdos, exiling the top 6 cards of Mark's deck.
You're getting all my lands and
You
it's
said
pissing me
after the
off.
sacrifice this shit?
I'll take a skull count out.
All non-land permanents are destroyed, and Mark passes. Bottle draws for turn 7. He plays a land. He casts a Mahadi Emporium Master. He passes his turn. Bethel untaps and draws. He pays and casts a Machias the Unhallowed. He follows up by casting a Skull Clamp, but I respond by casting a Wild Magic Surge targeting Machias. It's destroyed and Bethel reveals until he hits an Anger off the top.
Oh, I got the worst one, dude. Let's go.
Got the actual worst.
He moves to combat and swings 2 from the Anger at me. He passes. I untap and draw and play a Temple of the False God similar to Mark, but I'm actually able to use mine.
I'm gonna pay 5 for Indulgent Tormentor and 2 mana for King Duelist.
At this point, we all make a little bit of a mistake, as I thought I casted Blood Gift Demon. So instead of having someone pay 3 life on my upkeep so I don't draw a card, I instead lose a life and draw a card on my next couple of upkeeps, as I had both demons in hand but dropped the wrong one. Mark untaps and casts a Talisman of Hierarchy.
Mine, and then you draw a card. This
Like
is
agree.
It's not that.
Bardo untaps and plays a tapped land. He moves to combat and swings at Bethel for 3 damage and then passes. Bethel untaps and draws. He plays a Phyrexian Tower. He moves to combat and swings 3 damage at Mark after equipping the Skull Clamp. He then follows up with his commander, using the Phyrexian Tower to sack the Anger. He draws 2 cards from the Anger since Skull Clamp was attached and passes the turn. On my upkeep, I draw for my demon and lose a life, and then choose Mark with my Keen-Eyed Duelist trigger. We both reveal lands, taking 0 damage. I then draw for turn and play a land. I cast one of my commanders, Jeska Thrice Reborn. I use her 0 ability to make my demon deal triple damage. I swing at Bethel and he opts to take the 15. In my second main phase, I cast Kothafed Soul Hoarder and pass the turn. Mark draws and finally plays another land. He pays to recast his commander and equips the Greaves to it. However, Bardo responds on his end step by casting a Hero's Downfall, targeting Bethel's commander again.
It's either that or this, because he can't bring it back.
Hot. I guess it's commander.
I think the smartest thing to do is that.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah.
that's
I
like the
fucked up.
smartest thing.
Bardo moves to his turn, drawing a card. He pays all 8 to recast his commander, scrying 1 from his Path of Ancestry. Moving to combat, he swings at Bethel for another 3 damage. He moves to his end step, targeting Bethel with his commander's ability and drawing 2 cards.
I'm gonna ask you, do you want to sacrifice anything, which you can't, so
No,
you
I
draw
can't.
2. And I'm
That's fucking
fast.
crazy.
Bethel draws and plays a strong Cabal Coffers. He makes a ton of mana to then recast a Shieldred Whispering one. He equips a Skull Clamp to it. He then casts a Wild Magic Sorcerer. He passes.
You do so much in your turns with so little cards.
I untap and draw. My 2 creatures' upkeep triggers trigger along with Bethel's Shieldred. I sack the Keen-Eyed Duelist and then resolve its own upkeep trigger targeting Mark. He takes 0 while I take 3 from his card. I then draw a card for my other demon as we all still mistake it for Blood Gift Demon. In my main phase, I cast my other commander, Ikra Shidiqui.
Shidiqui. Ikra Shidiqui. Dude, I need that life point.
I follow up by using my Jeska to have my 6/6 flyer deal triple combat damage this turn. I move to combat, swinging 5 in the air at Betho and the 6/6 at Bardo.
It'll only be 18.
Only 18, bro?
Or you get to keep your commander.
Betho doesn't block, taking 5, while Bardo does, killing his commander, which makes me lose a life and draw a card. I gain 3 from combat with Shidiqui. I then pay 4 mana to cast my Blood Speaker. I pass. On Mark's upkeep, he has to sacrifice his commander, which also lets me draw a card while losing 1 life. He draws for turn and casts a Keeper of the Accord. He passes. On Bardo's upkeep, he sacks his creature and I lose a life and draw a card. Bardo casts a Feed the Swarm on Bethel's Shieldred, letting Bethel draw 2 cards from the clamp, Bardo taking 7 from the spell, and I lose a life and draw a card for my demon. Bardo follows up with a Decadent Dragon. He passes. Bethel untaps and draws. He plays a land.
I would have gotten the head back out and
He makes 6 mana with his Cabal Coffers and then uses it to cast his commander again. He equips his Skull Clamp to the creature and passes. On my upkeep, I sack the Blood Speaker to search for a demon card. I reveal a Sower of Discord and put it to my hand. Bethel then lets me draw a card with my demon trigger and then I draw for turn.
Dispatch one? You know how there's a
Terror
of the peaks.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a trash can test
Oh my god, what the fuck are you
Oh,
doing,
you
Frank?
read that, bro?
I then cast a Sower of Discord. I choose Mark and Beto as the 2 players. With my Terror trigger, I deal 6 damage to Mark, which also does 6 damage to Beto. I then use my commander to triple the damage of my 6/6. Moving to combat, I swing my 2 flares at Mark for 23 damage and my Menace commander at Bardo for 3. Mark is dropped down to 3, Beto dies, and I gain 15 life from my commander. I pass. On my end step, like on everyone else's, Mark gets a land and a 1/1 since I have more lands and creatures than him. He untaps and draws. He casts the Golden Throne. He then casts a Morbid Opportunist. He sacks a soldier with his throne, drawing a card and making 3 mana. He casts his 3rd board wipe of the game with Fell the Might, essentially wiping the board. I also draw some cards and lose 3 life from my demon. He passes. Bardo untaps and draws. He completely taps out to cast Rakdos again and targets me with the end step trigger, drawing 2 cards. I untap and draw. I play a land. I pay 4 mana to bring out the Blood Speaker. I then pay 8 mana to cast my favorite demon, Vilis Broker of Blood. Mark moves to his turn and draws and plays a land. He casts a Company Commander, making 2 1/1 soldiers. He then uses the throne to sack a soldier, drawing a card. Mark then gives the Greaves to the Company Commander and then pays to cast Legion Loyalty. He moves to combat and swings out at me, with his creatures gaining Death Touch. With the Myriad, he makes another 2 1/1s from the Company Commander. I take a total of 4 damage and get to draw 4 cards, and Bardo also takes 4 damage. He passes the turn.
God damn it, Frank.
It's Village, what do you mean why?
Bardo untaps and draws. He casts an Overloaded Vandal Blast.
Dude. Are you kidding me? I'm dead.
Is it?
He then casts a Soul Transfer, exiling my Vilis. He moves to his end step and gets to draw another 2 cards as I choose not to sack my Blood Speaker. Moving to my turn, I see the win in sight. I sack the Blood Speaker on my upkeep and tutor to hand the new Bringer of the Last Gift.
Oh my god.
Yo! He's bringing the last gift, bro.
Having enough mana to play, I cast a creature, bringing back my graveyard. With Terror of the Peaks re-entering, I have more than enough damage from the other creatures entering to eliminate both Mark and Bardo, winning the game.
I deal 5 to Mark.
I feel like I just got a bad draw.
Boom, boom. Oh, that's such a good demon late game, bro.
Oh my god.
And there you have it, my demon deck truly took off, allowing me to play multiple big threats and do some massive damage with Terror of the Peaks. If you enjoyed the game and want to see more, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And remember, you can always support us by using our TCG Player affiliate link below or by visiting our Patreon.